Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Alexei Navalny was about to be freed in a prisoner swap when he died. That's according to his ally Maria Pevchik.
16 февраля 2024 года.
In a video posted on Mr. Navalny's YouTube channel, Ms. Pevchik, who is the chairman of his anti-corruption foundation, said negotiations for a prisoner swap had been underway for 2 years. She said the Russian opposition leader was going to be exchanged for Vadim Krasikov, a Russian hitman who is serving a life sentence for murder in Germany. 2 US citizens currently held in Russia were also going to be part of the deal. She added that negotiations were at their final stage on the 15th of February. The next day, Mr. Navalny died in his cell in the prison colony in Siberia, where he was being held on a 19-year sentence over charges that were widely seen as politically motivated. A member of the US Air Force is in a critical condition after setting himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington. The man videoed himself before pouring some form of lighter fuel on himself and setting himself alight. Officers from the US Secret Service extinguished the flames before the man was taken to hospital with serious injuries. The US Air Force confirmed an active duty serviceman was involved, but he has not been identified. The police, the Secret Service and other authorities are investigating. Before setting himself on fire, he said he would no longer be complicit in genocide, and he was heard shouting "Free Palestine" as he burned. Mauritius has denied a Norwegian cruise ship permission to dock at the capital Port Louis over fears of a potential cholera outbreak on board. At least 15 people on the Norwegian Dawn have been isolated over suspected illness. Mauritian authorities said the decision to block the ship was taken in order to avoid any health risks. Samples were taken for testing on Sunday, with results expected to be known on Tuesday. The passengers developed mild symptoms of a stomach illness during a trip to South Africa. That's according to a representative of the Norwegian cruise line. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has claimed he has been a victim of political persecution since leaving office just over a year ago. He told tens of thousands of supporters in Sao Paulo that coup allegations against him were a lie. He also called for an amnesty for hundreds of his supporters convicted for attacks on public buildings. Police are investigating whether Mr. Bolsonaro incited a failed coup after losing the 2022 election. The suspended Conservative MP Lee Anderson has issued a statement renewing his criticism of London Mayor Sadiq Khan. Mr. Anderson accuses Mr. Khan of double standards for political benefit over how he handled policing of pro-Palestinian protests outside Parliament. The former Tory deputy chairman also said that while his words were clumsy, they were born out of sheer frustration. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said Lee's comments weren't acceptable, they were wrong. That's why he's had the whip suspended. Words matter, especially in the current environment where tensions are running high, and I think it's incumbent on all of us to choose them carefully. Facebook and Instagram owner Meta says it will form a team to tackle deceptive artificial intelligence content in the upcoming EU elections in June. It is concerned by how generative AI tech, which can fake videos, images and audio, might be used to trick voters. The announcement comes 2 weeks after Meta signed an agreement with other big tech firms committing to fighting such content. And the Indian Railways has ordered an investigation after a freight train travelled more than 70 kilometres without drivers. Video shared on social media showed the train zooming past several stations at high speed. The railways say the train was brought to a halt and no one was hurt. The 53-wagon train carrying stone chips was on its way to Punjab from Jammu when it stopped in Kathua for a change in crew. Officials say it began moving down a slope on the railway tracks after the train driver and his assistant got off. The train moved at a speed of nearly 100 kilometres an hour and managed to cross about 5 stations before it was eventually stopped. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.